Next up, we're going to add the Y, which will pick up the backup pump. We're going to dry fit 1.5 inch Y, and then we're going to add a small cutoff right here. Make sure they're pushed together pretty tight. We're going to have to add we're going to have to relocate the original check valve. So we're going to put some marks for our cuts right here. We're not using any tapes, we're just making sure we're in the middle of the rubber couplings. Now we're going to make our cut with the mark that we made earlier. And get all the burrs off the pipe. And none of this is glued, we're just putting this together, dry fitting this together to get some measurements for the other pump. So I have to tighten this all the way up, so it will have to come off again. We'd like to see the Y pointing towards this other pipe, which is the backup discharge pipe. We're going to level it off. Next, we're going to find our travel piece between the Y and the discharge pipe for the backup. This is a scrap piece of pipe that we had sitting around. We could use a formula to figure this out for the sake to make it easier for everyone else. We're going to put it up against the travel piece right there. We're going to use a torpedo. Now right here will be the back of the fitting, which is home, the end of the socket. That is where you're going to want to make your mark on the travel piece. We'll remove the travel piece. Put our safety glasses on. Make our cut, get the burrs off the pipe. We're going to insert that in the Y. And this piece will go together like that. We still have some more cuts to make. We do need another check valve right here because both pumps have to have their own check valve. So we'll mark this check valve. Next, we're going to cut the check valve in to the backup's discharge line, which is 1.5 inches. We could measure this if we wanted to, but we're using rubber couplings, so all we do is make a mark at the top, even with the check valve, and another mark at the bottom, even with the bottom of the check valve. Now, without taking the pump out of the pit, next we're going to make cuts at the marks we made. First, we're going to cut the top. Now we're going to cut at the bottom. The cuts could have been made with a hacksaw, but we do have a sawzall, so we're going to use it. Next, we're going to install the check valve. We might as well loosen up the hose clamps. You got to remember we haven't glued anything. Also, when you're installing the check valve, look for the arrow that's pointing up, because the water is going to flow up. So I'm going to put couplings on there. Loosen up the cup. Hose clamp some more. Push down one. Might be easier to disassemble out of the Y. Right Now that's what it should look like, but again, we don't have anything glued, so we're going to have to glue all the fittings together. Now we're going to prep the pipe for being glued together. We're going to check, make sure that both pipes are level and plumb. Now that we've established that, one of the easier ways to do this is to make marks on the fittings and on the corresponding pipe. Make sure that we glue the pipe together in the same place that it's sitting right now. Making sure that the marks are on both the fitting and the pipe. Pipe, fitting. Next, we're going to glue all our fittings together. We're going to pay special attention to the marks that we placed on every fitting. So first, we're going to start with this one right here. There's no other fittings connected to it. Again, start with primer. We're using purple primer. Some people use clear primer. The purpose of the primer is to soften and clean the pipe and get it ready for the glue. We're going to twist this together, looking for our mark. We're going to hold it and make sure it doesn't spring out. Next one. Prime. Glue. Mark might be a little hard to see. We're going to twist it right to the mark and hold it. Watch your marks. Hold them on the mark. Twisting to our mark and holding again. We're going to start by gluing our final joint. Notice the two marks right here. It's very important that we line those two up so everything else is lined up. After we glue this joint, then we're going to assemble the check valves.